Hey guys, Michelle Fry back, SurfShrink here. I wanted to talk to you about parenting. I know parenting. What do I know about parenting? Well, I actually know quite a bit. See, I was a child and I was parented. I do a lot of therapy with adults who were children and were parented and are trying to get through the scars of childhood that we all have. We do all have scars from childhood. Nobody escapes childhood unscathed, as I've said in the past. The three items I'm going to talk about today are transparency, congruency, shaming, and choices and consequences. Let's start with choices and consequences. So in life, there are organic consequences for most things we do, good consequences and bad consequences. And in my opinion, that's the best way to raise kids. And sometimes you have to come up with consequences. But I think, oh, there goes my phone. I don't have a very stable place to put it. It's on top of my Starbucks cup. So, sometimes you have to come up with consequences, but I think it's a really good practice to present your kid with choices and consequences. When they're really little, it looks like this. I don't know, maybe your kid is sitting at the dinner table and they have their peas and carrots and their meat and their mashed potatoes, if that's what you feed them, and you need them to take one bite of each to finish their meal. They're not going to finish everything on their plate, but you need them to just make a little more effort, and they refuse. And so you could do the power struggle at dinner that I see so many parents engage in, where you could say, hey, one more bite of each of those items, and you can eat dessert with us at 8 o'clock later when we decide to have ice cream while we're watching TV. And your child might say, I don't care, I don't want dessert, I'm not going to eat dessert, I'm not eating any more bites of this, ain't doing it. So you say, all right, that's fine, that would be your choice. You would choose not to eat one more bite of each of these items, and you don't want dessert. No problem. Remember, you could choose to have these items and then have dessert with us at 8. I'm not eating the items. Ain't gonna do it. So clear the dishes, we move on with the evening, 8 o'clock comes, everybody's eating ice cream, your 5-year-old says, what about me, I want ice cream. And you say, oh gosh, wow, remember at dinner when you said that you didn't want to finish your meal or eat those items on your plate because you were willing to forego the ice cream? And your kid's like, what? Yeah, remember that? Like, that's what you chose. And they're gonna be mad, but just act like they can't be mad at you. You gave them the choice. They chose it. Don't be mad at me. You chose it. Maybe tomorrow night you'll want to eat those items so you can have ice cream with us. So it doesn't make it about you. And guess what? No matter what they choose, it's great for them. They learn. So you don't have to be attached to their choices. They can still choose the choice that you don't want them to choose. And you don't have to engage in the power struggle. It's brilliant, in my opinion. Or like if you're at the grocery store and you're shopping and you're little child says, I want this candy bar, and you say, yeah, you can't have the candy bar. If you keep having a tantrum, we're gonna have to leave. And they keep engaging in a tantrum, and so you leave. But you're not mad. I know it's frustrating because you wanted to finish your grocery shopping, but what's more important, raising a kid that understands choices and consequences, or getting your eggs and milk for tomorrow? I think it's raising a kid who understands choices and consequences. I know this is hard. I don't think being a parent is easy. I think it's the hardest job on the planet and most important. As they get older and they're in high school, I think it looks more like this. Your kid is borrowing the car to go out on a Saturday night. The rule is they must be home by midnight or they don't get to use the car next weekend. Your kid gets home at 12:30. You see him in the morning. You say, hey, I know she got home at 12:30. FYI, we agreed that if you got home after midnight, you can't use the car next weekend. They may be angry, they may be pissed, and you just have to remind them that that was the choice. That's the choice they made. And again, you don't have to be so attached to their choices. It's okay that they choose the choices you don't want them to choose, because they're still learning. They're still learning choices and consequences. They're learning that when they make certain choices, they feel bad, as they don't get what they want. So it's a win-win no matter what they choose. I promise you that. I say that a lot, don't I? So the other thing is congruency. I think that goes along with transparency. And we're not perfect. No parent is perfect. I need you to see my eyes, huh? No parent is perfect. Nobody escapes childhood unscathed. I've mentioned that before. However, you do your best. I think the harder your childhood was, the harder it is to parent. So the best gift you could give your kids is to go to therapy. That is truly the best gift. Congruency and transparency. That means that when you're angry, you admit you're angry. When you're sad, you admit you're sad. If you don't want your children to feel like they have to protect you, you can say you're sad and that you're going to be okay. You can say that you're sad and they're going to be okay. It's important to always let your kids know that they are safe and you are protecting them and they are going to be okay. I know that that's hard sometimes because the world can be a really scary place. But I truly believe as a parent, you will do everything in your power to protect them and make sure they're safe. But it is okay for your children to see you have feelings, and very important for them to know when you act angry that you are angry. So like slamming doors in your house and your kid says, "Are you angry, Mom?" and you say no, that's really bad for your children. The reason it's bad for your children is because they start to not trust their perceptions and their intuitions. They start to think that wow, I perceive someone as angry, but they say they're not. I must be crazy, or I can't trust myself. And you want your kids to grow up trusting their intuitions and their perceptions. It's very, very important. So it's important to be transparent. It's important to be congruent. It's important to be honest about how you feel. It's really important for your kids. It really is. I think kids that grow up in homes where things aren't congruent and transparent grow up to have a lot of anxiety. I imagine as you listen to this, you're thinking about your own childhood and thinking about times where things were incongruent and not transparent. That's pretty tough. If mom and dad are arguing, I think it's important to say, yeah, mom and dad aren't getting along right now. We're having a hard time and you're going to be okay. And we love you and we love each other. Even if you think you might be breaking up, you do still love usually your partner or the father of your child or mother of your child, even if you can't live with them anymore. So I think that's a pretty honest answer. I mean, every ex I've ever had, I still love and care about. I don't stop loving them or caring about them just because I'm not in a relationship anymore. But I can't speak for you. The last thing, let's see, shame. Shame is the most important thing. Shame is different from guilt in that shame is something you feel, it's a deeper feeling than guilt. Guilt is about behavior. So you scratch someone's car as you're opening your car door and you feel guilty. That's guilt. It's about behavior. Shame is about you as a person. I feel like I'm a bad person. Oh my God, I'm such a horrible person. Maybe I'm going to hell because I scratched this person's car. I know that's an extreme example. But shame is more of a feeling of I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I'm a bad person. And if you shame your children, they will grow up feeling that way. They're not lovable, they're bad people, they're not good enough, even if you don't mean to. I think as parents, like I said, we're not perfect, and I think you can accidentally be shaming your child. As a therapist, I sometimes shame clients unwittingly, just not knowing it. Hopefully there's opportunity to talk about that in the session. And as parents, I think if you accidentally shame your child, it's important to think about that later and go back to them and admit that you might have made a mistake and it's not about them and you're sorry. This may be a fourth item on the list, but I'll get there in a minute. So shame, it looks like this. Your kid dropped a glass and you say, "What the fuck's wrong with you? You're so stupid. If you didn't have your head attached to your body, you dropped it too. You're dropping stuff all the time. You're so stupid." That's shaming. It's horrible. Doesn't it feel horrible? It feels horrible in my body as I'm saying it. Ugh, it does. It feels really bad as I'm saying it. So shame is not good for children or people, right? It's just not good for anyone. And so the more you shame your kid, the more they internalize that and start to believe they're bad people or they're not good enough. So I think that's something to really watch out for. I think it's much better to focus on behavior. Son, you dropped the glass. I noticed you're dropping a lot of glasses lately, and it seems like you're not present when you're walking around the house with glass. It just needs you to be more present. Stop breaking our glasses. We only have so many, or you might hurt yourself. I know it's hard, right? Because Parents are pushed to the limit all the time. It's the hardest job on the planet. So that's shame. I think I'll probably do a whole nother video on shame. And then maybe the final thing is if you make a mistake as a parent, which you will, just go back and admit it. I lost my temper with you. I'm really sorry. I think I might have even shamed you and blamed you for my feelings, and you don't deserve that. I love you. I'm imperfect, and you don't deserve that. That repairs a lot. So hopefully these things helped you with parenting, or maybe even to understand your own childhood. If these things went awry in your childhood, it probably affects you in your relationships. I have a lot of shame about not being a good enough person, and it affects me in my relationship with my husband specifically because he comes to me with constructive criticism, and I get quite defensive, and I immediately take it like I'm a bad person or I'm not good enough. But I'm really aware of it, so I can say to him, I think my shame got triggered and I need you to be a little gentler with me. So we talk about that because I have a lot of awareness about that. So if you find that this stirs up a lot of stuff from your childhood, you might want to contact a therapist and work it through. It ain't a bad choice. All right, I'm gonna get going. I am going to see the King Tut exhibit at the Science Museum today for the 3rd time in my life because my husband's never been. And when you love someone, that's what you do. You choose to see something 3 times because they've never seen it at all. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, by the way, Luna's here. She's been waiting very patiently. There she is. Hey, Luna. Hi, little lammy. Yeah, let's say goodbye to everybody. Isn't it funny how we talk in baby talk to our animals? Do you do that? I do it. All right, I know it was a long video. I'll talk to you soon. See you on the other side. Bye.